we encourage all of our families, like, continue making mezcal you always had, and they use it to trade. They use it for a local economy. When they started, they had 3 stills. I think we now have 12 up and running, and they have solar power. Like, it's just so crazy to see how much the transformation has gone.
Sounds like very much this is a family business. Do we want to walk through kind of roles and responsibilities as far as who are the people and what skill sets do they bring?
Yeah, I mean, the 4 families. So we have Carlos Blas. Actually, let's start with Jose. Jose was the first. Jose Morales is the first. Him and his brother both make mezcal. Now they produce for us in the US exclusively. They do. We encourage all of our families, like, continue making mezcal you always had, and they use it to trade. They use it for a local economy. I mean, every time I go down there, when they started, they had 3 stills. I think we now have 12 up and running, and they have solar power. They built a bathroom on facility. Like, it's just so crazy to see how much the transformation has gone. And now, like, every time I go down there, he's like, oh yeah, we just made a hobbly. We just made a pure cuishe, or we made this. So I always come back with stuff in water bottles. I even have some of our espadine puntas, which I wish we could bring to the States. It just would never pass because it's straight off the still at like 140 proof. But it's absolutely mind-blowingly good. And but also anytime so puntas and colas are the heads and tails of production. You want a little bit of each to impart flavor, but the heart's really what you're after, that has the least amount of congeners and other chemicals that can give you headaches. But sometimes the stuff that gives you the headaches is the most delicious stuff. It's just, you can't drink a lot of it. I've done it before, and it gives me a raging migraine, but it was worth every single sip. That's Jose, and Jose was the first family we ever started with. And the original recipe, the blend of cuishe and espadine at 90 proof, that's his family's recipe. So we expanded that, and we brought on Carlos Blas and the Vasquez family. Unfortunately, Natalio, the father, passed away a couple years ago. His daughters are now producing in the family's tradition, and we take whatever we can from them. But what we do that's a little bit different, it started out when it was just Jose. He was making the blend himself. But now what we do is we actually have them make the espadine and the cuishe separately. And we have all 3 families make each part of their process. Sometimes we just get cuishe from Jose. Sometimes Carlos makes all the espadine. But Carlos is kind of like a master blender. So we kind of blend a cold style like Scotch does. And what we do that, even though it's not the most traditional way, all the distillation and stuff is as true as it can be. But by blending post-distillation allows us to keep consistency, which was a huge problem because every batch of mezcal, with your wild fermentation, your wild yeast, and all these beautiful nuances, it'll be inconsistent. As you grow as a brand, it was hard for us to keep consistency. But by blending multiple terroir and 3 different families' production, we can keep a consistent product that tastes the same, as well as still just expanding and bringing on more families to help, instead of just going to a large factory house and kind of not making what I would call traditional mezcal.
Ryan, as we wrap up, let's talk about where can we learn more about Madre Mezcal? Where can we buy it? Where should we be visiting to find out more about it?
We have a beautiful Instagram online. MadreMezcal.com is our website. We also have this Instagram called mezcal.learning, and it really is an easy way. It's an Instagram, and it's a little short videos and little blurbs to talk about production, families, history, and culture. It's most of your nicer bottle shops, liquor stores. And in California, we're lucky enough to be in Trader Joe's for the espadine, and Whole Foods has our ensemble, which I always say, support your local liquor store if you can. They're going to have much better stuff. But at the same time, I understand times are rough, and the pricing at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods is fantastic. And if for some reason you can't find it, you go to MadreMezcal.com. We ship bottles to almost every state in the U.S. I'm just excited to see the culture of mezcal just expand beyond just America. And we're actually now in 9 countries too.